We're living in this hyper-connected world, but we've got a huge problem. Seeing isn't believing anymore. Not really. The line between what's a real photograph and what's a totally convincing fake has basically just disappeared. And that means we urgently need some new tools to help us get a grip on reality. So let's talk about how we can actually engineer visual trust in a world that's becoming more and more artificial.
So take a look at this chart, and really it's not just a line on a graph, right? This is an explosion. In just a handful of years, this stuff, synthetic media, went from being a weird little experiment to a massive tidal wave that's threatening to just wash away our sense of what's real. This is the background for a super high-stakes arms race between the people making fakes and the people trying to detect them.
And this quote, man, it just hits the nail on the head. It shows you exactly how fast this arms race is moving. The entire game has changed. A tool that worked perfectly last month, it could be totally obsolete today. The technology is evolving so fast, it's almost hard to comprehend. And that means we need a much smarter, much more dynamic way to respond.
All right, so that brings us right into our first section, the arms race for reality. We're going to dig into why our own eyes, the things we've trusted for, all of human history, are just not reliable witnesses anymore.
And the stakes here, they couldn't be any higher. Seriously, we're talking about AI-generated content that can swing elections, pull off incredibly sophisticated bank fraud, and be used for some truly awful harassment. But maybe the most dangerous thing is that last one on the slide, the liar's dividend. That's a world where, because anything could be fake, a liar can just deny something that is 100% true. It's a full-on assault on our shared reality.
So why are our old methods failing so badly? Well, think about it like this. Traditional forensics were great at catching clumsy edits, what we all call photoshopping, but the modern threat is a whole different animal. Today's AI models are occlusion aware, which is a fancy way of saying they understand 3D space. They get how light is supposed to bounce, how a shadow should fall, how a face looks even if something's partially in the way. That lets them create fakes that are so physically perfect they can fool you, me, and most of the old software out there.
But here's the thing. In the face of this crazy, sophisticated challenge, a new solution is starting to take shape. And to really get it, you've got to understand the person behind it first. This isn't just a story about code. It's a story about deep, hard-won experience that was built over decades.
I love this analogy because it's just so perfect. To solve a problem this big, you don't just need a coder. You need someone who gets the history, who understands the fundamental building blocks of a digital image, every single stone in that fortress, but who also has the vision to build a brand new security system for today's threats. And Keith De Cesare's journey is just wow. Way back in the 90s, when Photoshop version 1 was new, he was already studying the DNA of digital images, pixel depth, color, all of it. Then he went on to literally safeguard our visual history at the Corbis Batman Archive, protecting millions of the world's most important photos from being manipulated. It's that deep, fundamental understanding of what makes an image true that really matters here. So all of that incredible experience, decades of it, has been poured into one thing, the De Cesare protocol. It's a system built on that amazing legacy of expertise. And that protocol is called Project VITA. It stands for Visual Integrity and Truth Algorithm. And its mission, when you boil it all down, is both incredibly simple and powerful. It's about telling the difference between captured light, what happens when a real camera takes a real picture, and generated mathematics, which is just code creating something that looks real. It's about getting back to the physical evidence in the pixels.
So how does it actually work? Well, it's a four-step process. First, VITA analyzes the actual physics in the image, the light, the shadows, even the digital noise. Then, it steps back and evaluates the context. Like, does this picture even make sense in the real world? From there, it generates a simple score, and, this is the crucial part, it tells you why it got that score. This isn't some black box. It's transparent.
And this is where it gets really, really cool. The level of detail in the analysis is just incredible. VITA goes way beyond the obvious stuff. It checks for things like if the reflections in a person's eyes are physically accurate. It looks for how natural the digital noise or grain is. It can even spot what are called semantic errors, like a general wearing the wrong military medals for his rank. It's this deep, multi-layered approach that makes it so powerful.
So you have all this crazy deep analysis going on under the hood. But what does it all boil down to for you and me? Well, something incredibly simple and easy to use. And that brings us to the key output of the whole VITA protocol.
It's called the veracity quotient, or VQ for short. Just a single, intuitive score from 0 to 100% that gives you an instant read on how authentic an image is. It's designed so that anyone can understand it, whether you're a forensic expert or just scrolling through your feed.
Now, what makes this so smart is that it's not just a thumbs up or thumbs down. A 90 to 100% score means, yep, this is faithful to reality. But look at that middle range. An image can be made of totally authentic pixels from a real photo, but be used in a completely misleading way. The VQ actually captures that difference, which moves us way beyond a simple real versus fake coin toss.
So, where does a technology this powerful actually fit in? This is where we get to the heart of engineering visual trust. Now look, AI-generated content isn't automatically bad. It's an amazing tool for creativity, but it has to be identified. It just has to. And that means it's really the duty, the ethical responsibility of any platform that shares information to provide that clarity.
Which brings us to a really pointed question, doesn't it? If your entire mission, your whole reason for being is maximum truth-seeking, let's say for a platform like Rockipedia, how can you possibly guarantee the truth of your pictures and videos without a system like this?
Well, the answer is you can't. You absolutely need that truth layer. VITA provides exactly that. It is the verifiable, evidence-based licensable algorithm that can ensure every single image is trustworthy. It's what takes a knowledge base from being just an encyclopedia with some pictures and transforms it into the trusted source of visual knowledge.
Ultimately, it all comes down to this. In this new age of synthetic reality, we can't just have faith that what we see is true. We need evidence. The truth needs better tools. VITA is one of those essential tools. So, let's build them.